the Rangers, little Canadian trip they got going on here with Ottawa and Montreal has been polarizing, us to say the least. Um, Now, this is my little blog series I do because I've been a New York Ranger fan since 1996 when Gretzky was traded over, and I'm going to give a State of the Union address every game, every 2 games, until we win the Stanley Cup because I'm one of those people that will cry if the Rangers ever win the Stanley Cup. Didn't see 94, want to see the next one. Um, Let me see. Okay, so Ottawa. Now, I feel like these 2 games are kind of nice to couple in here because it kind of had a theory about the way the Rangers were going to respond. Um, so we looked terrible in Ottawa. There's no going around that. One thing that I did want to mention is that we actually did have some scoring chances. Off the top of my head, I think Kreider had a grade A scoring chance. I even think Artemi Panarin it just got robbed. Like the goalie just robbed. And, in a 3-1 game, all of a sudden it's 3-2. The game's completely different. So I don't want to just bash on the Rangers completely. But there absolutely is an element of inconsistency. And we need to figure out why we're inconsistent. Now, after I watched the Ottawa game, I thought, come on, this inconsistency, we just beat Washington, now you travel to Ottawa, and now you put up a dud. Like, you got to put that on the coach, right? Then you also think about traveling from New York City to Ottawa on like 2 days notice or something, or 1 day's notice, and then you realize these guys are like the youngest team in the league. Like, grade A chartered planes, playing cards, sleeping. Like, get out of here with that. Regular season game. There's no way fatigue plays an impact, which brings me back to the coaching aspect again. Now, after we lost to Ottawa 4-1, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is the coach. Like, the coach has a problem with getting these guys ready to play. It's my little notes that I have here. So we're going to Ottawa. I went to Ottawa last year. We lost that game too. We don't do so well in Ottawa. But I have my eyes wide open looking at as to how the team is going to respond. Now, in this situation, I'm believing that the Rangers are going to respond in this game. And if they don't, I'm not going to blame the coach. I think if you don't respond after your performance that you had in Ottawa, it's not the coach's fault. It's the players. Because David Quinn said something. He said he talked about how he tried to address the inconsistency issue in a different way. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about David Quinn. David Quinn is a trier. David Quinn is trying to get his team motivated, is trying to tackle these inconsistency issues. And if you're going to blame the coach for not showing up in Montreal, then you would basically have to say David Quinn isn't trying to do anything, which is ridiculous. So Ottawa, they ended up showing out in Montreal. Gorgiev did not have. Well, what do we got here? So I made the note: if the team doesn't show up, it's on the players. And in the first period, I thought they showed up. I did not think that we were down 4-1 or 4-0. Gorgiev played terrible. You got to make one of those saves. You just gotta. You gotta make a save for your team. It's tough to play. It's tough to play behind a goal. It's tough to go down 4-0 in the first period, and you got to make a save. That was not Gorgiev's game, and you know what? The more we play, I think Gorgiev is out of here. I think we're gonna ride with Hank and Shestagin for the next 2 years, or you might even see Gorgiev down in the minors this year. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. It's not what it's not. That was not a good game by Gorgiev. So, anyways, I thought the Rangers played okay in the first period. They just couldn't really get a break. A lot of goals against them that were unfortunate. They came back like a bat out of hell, and they had an all-time comeback. They're one of two teams this year, I think, with the Florida Panthers who have come back from a 4-goal deficit. 4-goal lead. That's the new worst lead in hockey. Now, I guess we can talk about it. This is kind of free, just freestyling it here. I guess we can talk about Kreider. Just in general, Montreal, Kreider kind of go together. Ever since we had that series and the Russian defenseman, I think he was a Russian guy, forget his name, tripped Kreider, and then Kreider fell into Carey Price, and then Carey Price tore his MCL or something happened where Carey Price's season was over, and the whole city of Montreal said, wah, 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 we would have beat you if we had Carey Price. Now, I'm here to say, did they forget that Dustin Tatarski came in there and played lights-out hockey? He literally played as good as any goalie could have possibly hoped to play. And if Carey Price, if you just revert, knowing what we know now, and then all of a sudden a healthy Carey Price is in there, I think we win that series quicker. So I don't like Carey Price ever since that incident because everyone in Montreal thinks he's the bee's knees, the best thing since sliced bread. Like, he's not the greatest goalie of all time. I'm sorry. Carey Price, he puts a certain type of taste in your mouth that just, I don't like hearing his name. I don't like that guy. Just simply from that series, how Montreal fans were just, oh my God, like, if Carey Price was playing. First of all, Kreider got tripped, and he fell into the goalie. It's not like Kreider's, like, out, like, I don't know. Anyways, but Kreider is one of the guys who has been struggling. In my last State of the Union address, I talked about Chris Kreider being out of here and making me sad. And I like Chris Kreider a lot. But they did send a letter. To be fair, the Rangers sent a letter. We all remember that letter. Chris Kreider is gone. It is what it is. It's not what it's not. He's out of here. But what else can we remember about his game in Montreal? Oh, he came out, I think it was Buchanan? No. Tatar. He came out in the first period, and I thought it was going to be a penalty. I thought, with today's NHL, I thought it was going to be a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. He blasted Tatar with one of those shoulders to the face. I thought he was going to be out of the game. Later, he got Tatar again. But my point is, Kreider came out to play. You make a big hit. I don't even care if that's a penalty. You come out to play, and that shows that your team that you want to play, like making a big hit, putting your body on the line. And 1 minute into the game, Kreider had that nice hit. So, toe drag shot. I forget what that meant. Gorgiev, I kind of touched on. Skjei. There's been a lot of talk about Brady Skjei struggling. There's been a lot of talk about Brady Skjei struggling. And so, this is an aside. If fast forward like a minute, if you don't care about my own personal stories, this guy fixes my wife's car, and he leaves his phone in the car, and he's got like on the phone, and I'm like driving away. We drove over a nail, so we're patching the tire. So we drive away. The guy's got a phone in my car, and the text is like some woman is like, I will come down to your job. I will. And then he ended up like kind of messing our tire up because the tire sensor came off. So we're going back to Pep Boys to fix it. So shout out Pep Boys for doing it right. It sounds like they're, really on top of things. But it was just this woman on his phone because I was like, whose phone is this? Because there was an alien phone in my car. So I drive back to Pep Boys to give it back. And when I look at it, I didn't go through the guy's phone, but like when I looked at the phone, it was just there. It was like, I will come down to your job. And that's hard to not look at. Apparently he's fired. So I don't know. My wife just texted me that. But now, what were we talking about? Skjei buzzing up the ice. When Brady Skjei is at his best, I was at the game in Ottawa where he lost to triple overtime in Ottawa. And I guess I'm a Brady Skjei apologist. I guess he's been really struggling this year, and a lot of people want him in the minors, or Ranger fans. We want to trade him, or I think I don't know. But a lot of people are pointing out the fact that Brady Skjei has been struggling. And he may. I'm not going to say he hasn't or has. I I don't feel like I'm intelligent enough about the game of hockey to make an opinion on that. Just with my casual watching and what I haven't dialed in on Brady Skjei, but when Brady Skjei is at his best, he skates the puck up ice. He gets ahead of steam and he skates the puck up the ice like you're in like in mites when no one can take the puck from you. You just wind up in your own end and you go and you skate, and that still works at the NHL level if you get enough speed. Not going coast to coast and doing the backhand forehand deep goal like we all used to do, but I saw that in last night's game. Brady Skjei just going coast to coast. That's what you want to see from Brady Skjei. Going around the net, just entering the zone, going around the net. And he did that in Ottawa. He just went coast to coast and took a shot and scored a goal and made it like 4-2 or something. And I'm endeared to Brady Skjei. I like Brady Skjei. I see him in a long term. I see him as a long term as a long term piece of this Ranger team. I see him working with Trouba. They're buddies. Why not? Working with Trouba. You got Tony DeAngelo. Bring up Keandre Miller, and then you got Adam Fox and Ryan Lindgren. I'm ready to go with that top six for the rest of the next 10 years. Let me see. Tony DeAngelo. I didn't think Tony DeAngelo had a nice game. I really like Tony DeAngelo. Didn't think he had a good game. Wanted to mark that down. Now, let me just, before we. Oh my God. Brendan Lemieux. Claude in the stands. He probably lives in Montreal or something. Brendan Lemieux is the New York Ranger fan spirit animal at this point. Like, Brendan Lemieux took a punch from what's his face? The guy who's too good looking. He's like self-conscious because he's too good looking, so he takes a lot of penalties and hits hard and fights in hockey. That's my theory about Tom Wilson. So my theory is Tom Wilson's just too good looking, so he kind of naturally gravitated towards the tough guy role because he was self-conscious about how good looking he was in the game of hockey. So he just gravitated toward the role. He's just nervous about it. So Brendan Lemieux fought Tom Wilson, and Tom Wilson is one of the heavyweights. He's not the heavyweight in the NHL, but he's one of the guys who is known to be a good fighter. At Madison Square Garden, no better way to be. There is no better way to endear yourself to Madison Square Garden. Go fight the guy who everyone hates. Ranger fans always boo the popular guy to boo. And Tom Wilson is one of those guys the Ranger fans will boo. So he shows up to Montreal with missing teeth. Well, he didn't lose his teeth in the fight, but I think in the next game he took a high stick, or later in that game or something, took a high stick, lost his teeth. So this guy shows up like a domestic abuse victim, big black eye, or a MMA fighter post fight. You know how the MMA fighters, if you watch it, they show up post fight and they got black eyes, cuts all over the face. Anyways, this guy, he has one of the videos went viral of him taking the water, just spitting it out. It's all blood. Brendan Lemieux has endeared himself to the Rangers team. It's just to the Ranger, not the team, but to the fans. Everyone loves seeing this guy. He had a hell of a game by the end of it. Now, the beginning of the game, he couldn't figure it out. He looked hungover. Like, I'm not saying he was, but I'm just saying he couldn't stick handle the puck and skate at the same time. Like, he looked like he was having a terrible game. And then he got that the power play goal. I think was it Trouba, or maybe I think Fox shot it. He got a little tip. You can still have a bad game and get a tip-in goal. And then he gets that shorthanded goal, and to make it, was it either tie it up or make it 6-5? It might have made it 6-5. So now I'm thinking back on Brendan Lemieux's game. He kind of started slow. He couldn't figure it out. He needed to get his legs under him and his hands, and he needed to figure it out. But then you score a power play goal, and then you get a shorthanded goal, And now you start thinking like, all right, well the guy's got a shorthanded goal or or penalty kill is awful this year, and then he's also scoring power play goals. How do you not like Brendan Lemieux as a third line player? There's a lot to be excited about on this team. I don't necessarily think we're going to win the Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, my $10 bet, the Rangers are going to win the Stanley Cup, is not going to come to fruition here. But this is really entertaining as a Ranger fan since '96. As a Ranger fan since '96, when we didn't rebuild. Now, there's no shortcuts in life. Eventually, you will have to pay the piper. You can't steal from Peter to give to Paul. In '96 and on, we kept buying. At some point, there was no salary cap, so we kept buying the best free agent, and we kept buying and buying and buying, and they all were awful, awful, awful. And we never I never experienced a rebuild. So this is a new experience for me and probably a lot of Ranger fans out there, where you're looking at guys like Brendan Lemieux, who you're like, wow, I could see where this guy can play a role in our team 5 years from now, 3 years from now. The same goes for our decor. That's a perfect example. Trouba. Thinking about Keandre Miller, the guy had the strongest grip strength in the 2018 draft. Keandre Miller could squeeze stuff harder than anyone in the 2018 draft. As soon as they mentioned that when they drafted him, I'm in. That's my guy. So he's coming up. And then you got the two right-handed power play guys who, imagine that, we've been trying to find a quarterback for the power play for, 15 years? And all of a sudden we got two guys that we are bringing up ourselves, and they're the answer. Simple. And you got Trouba, who can also participate in the power play too, in that quarterback role. But this is just a really fun time to be a Ranger fan, because even though we're very inconsistent, that game in Ottawa looked horrible. There's a lot to be excited about on this team. And so all I wanted to talk about: Skjei, Tony, Gordio, Todray, Brendan Lemieux. But Brendan Lemieux is the star of the game. And in the beginning of the year, I didn't think Brendan Lemieux was playing well. He was one of the holdout guys. Like, hey, you want to hold out, and then all of a sudden you got to show up. You know, if you're gonna hold out, then you got to show up. And he wasn't playing well. He was not. But all right, well, there's my wife with the car where the guy got fired. So we'll see you guys tonight for Zuccarello's game. That deserves its own State of the Union address.